Now, advertising agencies in India may have come of age, but the heavily tipped scales in favor of men at the top management could well be the manifestation of stereotypes from a decade ago. Is the equality of women in this industry an accepted farce, or is the fairer sex just not creative enough? Brand Equity unravels the mystery behind why the men are still ruling this roost, as Nikita Saxena finds out more.
She's a lovely lady. She's getting old. Well, women age like fine wine.
Liar! Women are always thinking.
I have absolutely no idea what women are thinking.
I'm a strong, independent, secure woman. I'm strong, I'm independent, and I'm secure, and I'm not feeling cherished.
This man is out of ideas.
Oh, it even has a sound that goes nag, 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 nag.
आम सूत्र कहता है कि लालच को जितना पकने दो, मिलन उतना ही मीठा होता है.
The emancipated woman of today refuses to be reduced to an object of sexuality.
सब्र करो और बरसने दो.
She is breaking free of stereotypes. She is voicing her opinion.
मेरी fairness दुगनी.
And is standing up for the noble causes she believes in. Neil French, former WPP Worldwide Creative Director, apparently believed as much, though his enlightened insights earned him not just disdain, but also an early retirement. But once everyone is done chuckling and all the feminists cry foul, agency figures seem to echo this thinking whether they like it or not.
I think looking after home is not an easy job. I mean, their kids, their in-laws, the relationships, the dynamics which you're kind of expected to manage, and it's difficult to do both. And very often, I think one of them tends to get compromised. I think maybe in advertising, it's more that a lot of the careers get compromised or kind of get sacrificed along the way.
Maybe the client doesn't seem to trust them beyond a point, because everything seems to be very much in our industry finally dictated by what the client has to say, and they probably feel like, you know, someone more macho needs to be there in that job.
Men are the ones who have to go out there and get a job. See, for women it's optional always. The men are the ones who are out there getting the job, and so for the woman, it's a question of whether she wants to earn the extra money or not.
I think the primary reason is that you drop out because you want to take care of your family fully. And if I had a family, I would have done the same thing. I would have left advertising to take care of the family.
While the idea of a gender bias in an industry that is infamous for its liberal thought and accommodating work culture seems laughable, industry statistics beg to differ. At the entry level, there are more women joining the advertising world at around 60%. But as you move up the ladder, at a creative director or VP level, the number drops to just at 40%. At the ECT level, it's a mere 20%. Finally, at the boardroom level, it becomes just about a measly 2%.
Make it to the top, you need lot more resilience, and then you need to give that much of a time. You can't become head of an agency within 3 years. And what happens in creative industry, if you are out for a year, you are out for 10 years, because the pace at which things are changing, and if you want to come back, it will take a long time. Maybe one of the reasons why people who take a sabbatical when they are starting their families never actually come back.
The nature of advertising is that it is an extremely erratic and chaotic and unplanned professional, much that we wouldn't want it to be. But that's the way it is, and it's not just in India. That's the way it is around the world and has been for many, many decades.
Surprisingly, this glaring discrepancy seems to be restricted to the organized chaos of an advertising agency. More and more women aren't just venturing out into previously unknown territories, be it banking, media services or marketing. They are conquering them. But amidst these success stories, the number in creative agencies seem to remain the same, stagnant and abysmal.
It is such a demanding profession that no woman who is, concerned about her young children or family is going to be able to stay up nights and complete these seemingly impossible deadlines over the next day or two. Very often that's the reason why women step out at that time.
Basically in advertising, the role becomes more and more challenging as you become bigger and bigger. especially when you're in the creative. I'll tell you, the major problem is the timing, and the major problem is traveling when you're in the creative. Because every shoot you have to be for, even if you're, you know, senior or junior, and every meeting you're expected to go. And the more you become bigger now in network agencies, you get a regional role, then you get a global role, and then you're expected to travel, pick your bags and travel. Now, that's not going to be easy when you have, you know, things to look back at home.
Perhaps the erratic, unplanned nature of the profession is inherently failing the gender. Or is there conspicuous absence at the top, marked by a genetic lack of affinity towards the constant state of creativity on demand?
Guys wanted greater, or their ambition is greater than sometimes even their capabilities. And that ambition and that complexity gets them to want to chase that job irrespective of where they stand. Finally, somebody has to put his hand up and say, I want that job. They don't do that. Maybe they don't do enough of it. Maybe they don't fight for that rights.
Unless advertising industry learns to be a little more larger and accommodating about women, this will not happen. Because the balance which a woman would expect out of life, she'll be easy to give up the job. She'll say, okay, to hell with advertising, I have my priorities set in life.
In theory, the informal work atmosphere at an advertising agency, the flexible work hours, and the nature of the work are a perfect match for the creative gene. In practice, what you get are laughably skewed ratios at the top, high attrition rates, and frequent work sabbaticals. The theories may be varied, but the truth remains. Women creative directors are not the norm, but the exception. And unless some drastic transformation is underway, this looks like a trend that's here to stay.